Hello, survivors. Welcome to the State of Decay 2 stream. I'm your host, Geoffrey Card, and over here we've got Brant Fitzgerald. We are sitting here. What?
Typhoid.
What?
What is that? What is that?
Well, you know, we're not acting like professionals because instead of respecting the quarantine, we're coming into the office to do at least one more stream before we completely vacate the premises. And so both of us are quarantine violators, and we're sitting here with our BioShock-style collapsing party decorations, just watching the world burn around us. Yeah, it looks great now. It's starting to sag up here, though. I think slowly it's going to collapse over the course of this or maybe multiple streams. One thing we should say, we don't actually know what we're doing next week. Maybe we'll come in and do a stream here. Maybe we'll, Brant and I will come in, but we'll remote to a guest who, stays at home. Maybe we'll try to do it from one of our houses. Or maybe we could cancel them altogether. We really genuinely don't know what the wisest choice is going to be. So please bear with us as we're trying to figure out how to survive in, post-apocalyptic quarantine Seattle.
Yeah.
And just be patient with us. We're going to keep you informed on social media about what we're actually doing week by week. And we still want to keep communicating with you folks. We're so glad that you folks are enjoying the Juggernaut Edition, and we want to keep fueling that, keep interacting with the community. But that means we're going to have to make some interesting choices about how we're actually going to go about it.
We're not technically violating the governor's order right now.
Yeah, not technically. So let's actually have a look at the game. So we've started a brand new game because we were accidentally playing on my account last week. We need to play on our work account because I got my own stuff going on with my own save game. So we're just right here at the beginning playing through. This is the second starter. You skipped the tutorial.
I skipped the tutorial. We're in dread zone. So
That's
I will inevitably die horrible deaths here.
So the plan today. I gotta get back signed in so I can look at my notes. So we are planning to do some giveaways today. We're not giving away any large objects, because that's actually an extra challenge right now, trying to go to post offices and things like that. So we're going to be giving away Steam codes for the game. So at 3:15, at 3:30, and 3:45, we're going to do real quick giveaways to give away Steam codes. So stick around for that if you're interested in grabbing a copy of the game on Steam, or if you haven't played our game yet. Welcome. We hope that you get this free code so you can play it. If you've already got the game, I hope that somebody else enjoys the gift that we hand off to you. So that'll be going on. We also want to make sure that folks are informed that if you originally bought the game on the Windows Store, we've got some instructions for how to get the update. Because there's some technical reasons why we had to sort of require a complete uninstall and reinstall of the game, and you also have to clear your Windows Store cache, which is a thing I didn't know existed, and so I think most people don't know existed. So we've got some detailed instructions though. If you go to stateofdecay.com/upgrade, you'll be able to see step-by-step instructions if you've been having any trouble playing the game, playing the Juggernaut Edition. If you got it on the Windows Store, then please go and follow those instructions. Also, if you are one of the people who's running into some of the handful of bugs that have been plaguing a few of our new players, go to support.stateofdecay.com and see if somebody has already reported that bug. If they have, it means we're on it, and we're going to try to fix it. If nobody has, then feel free to report what you're experiencing. Just bear in mind, we actually did hire some additional people to stay on top of support.stateofdecay.com and all the tickets that are coming in, but we actually are having more people play the game right now than we were even expecting, and it's slow. It's a lot of work that these folks have to plow through. So have patience with them. They are absolutely doing their best. They are rock stars, and you wouldn't believe the work that they're doing behind the scenes. And so, have some patience, and we will try to get to everything that folks are reporting. So, by the way, we are, Brant and I are sort of making a few jokes here about the quarantine because we're living with it every day, and sort of that's how you keep keep your spirits up when you're dealing with stuff like this, is you start making jokes. I do want to make it really clear though that we are taking it very seriously. It's like we came in because it's just the two of us. This is largely a vacant office. I'm actually around fewer people right now than I would be if I were at home.
Yes.
So this is So we are actually taking it very seriously. Most people at the office are working from home exclusively. There's a lot of folks who really just have not left their house in a couple of weeks. And we're trying to be as smart as we can because, we make a game about what happens when society collapses. And I think it's been really great to see the city of Seattle and lots of places, across the world really taking the health and safety of their fellow citizens seriously. Because a lot of the time, the people who have to make decisions to stay home aren't the people who are at dramatic risk of infection or, serious health problems from the disease. But we still stay home because we know there are people out there who are exceptionally vulnerable, who really could be in serious danger from this illness. So we are all taking it very seriously, and that's one of the reasons why we're warning you. We might not be doing the streams as usual after today. So we're going to put some work into sort of making sure that we've got a few options on the table and see what we can pull off. So Cosmic Kitsune 15 wants to know, how do you make games when you're stuck at home?
Distributed office.
So what does that mean? Or do you want me to explain it since you're actually trying to avoid zombies?
Well, basically we rely on our IT department, our superheroes, I will say,
Yes.
in our IT department, who went from 0 to 100. We've set up an infrastructure a long time ago to allow a few people to work from home.
Yeah, I frequently, because of my kids' schedules and things like that, I have to work from home fairly regularly, and it was great. They put a lot of work into making sure that I was up and running so that I could attend meetings via teleconferencing when that's going on.
Yep.
So that I can either dial into my PC at work and do work from that PC from home, or actually I've got the whole build just set up on my local PC if that's where I want to work. And they kind of used me and a few other people as test cases to make sure that everything was up and running before we even had this quarantine situation. And
so it was just a matter of scale when shit hit the fan, excuse my language.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was overnight from, just supporting a few people to being able to deal with all the crazy situations that come up, like software licensing that's set to a specific machine, and it gets insane, but it's doable, and
they've been solving a lot of problems. And
lots of problems.
We have an IT department of 2 people servicing 80 people who are trying to stay productive, and
Yes.
they've been doing an amazing job.
But we were lucky; we had already started some of that.
Yeah, there are a lot of offices, like school systems, things like that, who that have not built the infrastructure up already, who are having more struggles making that stuff work.
Let's see. I'll read.
But one thing we have been doing is several of the teams that I'm involved with have actually started meeting more often remotely than they were in the office. Because in the office you just bump into each other all the time. Sometimes you sit near each other. You're just constantly collaborating. But it's really it's easy to sort of, when you don't have a schedule and you don't have obligations taking you from one physical place to another, it's easy for your brain to sort of start descending into madness and not quite working right.
It goes into weekend mode first, and then it goes into like, what the hell do I do with myself mode.
Yeah, and so we've been trying to check in with each other, have actual social interactions with each other as often as we can via teleconferencing methods to make sure that we're all staying on the ball. We're all kind of keeping track of each other and supporting each other. So one of the things that I wanted to do while we're here is go through the patch notes. It's kind of a tradition. We always read the patch notes. Problem is, we've got a lot of patch notes. This is the biggest pile of patch notes we have ever created.
Geoffrey's basically going to be talking from now until the end of the stream without breathing.
So I don't know. I think I'm going to skip a lot of the big paragraphs. Apologies to Andy, because Andy actually... so Andy Collins and I collaborate on the patch notes. I write a lot of the just little detail, sort of nitpicky lists, but he writes the marketing text, the stuff that explains why something is cool before we get into all the details of what exactly it is. And I'm going to be skipping a lot of his, so apologies to Andy for that. But I want to be able to actually get through every single note by the end of the stream.
I just picked up maybe the most valuable piece of trade gear ever.
What is it? Oh, the roll of toilet paper. Yes. As we have learned, that is the first thing people want. And yeah, I think, people have heard the news stories. I don't know if we need to go into it.
No, we don't.
All right. So let's kind of start at the top. So I'll skip the very first section of the patch notes, which just give the broad, high-level summary of everything, and talk about new platforms and cross-platform support. So we are on not just Xbox and Xbox Game Pass and PC, Windows PC. We're also now via the Windows Store. We're also on Steam. We're also on the Epic Game Store, and all of those versions of the game are mutually compatible across Xbox Live. So you don't have to be playing. You didn't have to have gotten the game from the same store that your friend got it from in order to play it together. No matter what, you can always play together. And in addition to that, you see, if you own the game on multiple platforms, please note that some save data is not shared across all platforms. The following data is always synchronized: achievements, unlocked outfits, completed bounties, Daybreak reward progress, and legacy boon cards. And the reason for that is because all of those things are things you only gain and never lose.
Yep.
So our game is a game where loss happens a lot. And the problem is if you end up playing in two different places and the save games get out of sync, it's hard to know, well, which one is the one that the player really wants. And it's hard to communicate it well enough with you to let you make that decision. It becomes a very complicated problem. But we knew that we could sync those things because if you end up with two versions of the same game that disagree with each other, we just take the one with the bigger numbers, and it's always correct. So individual community saves, legacy characters, prestige currency are only shared between Xbox One and Windows Store versions of the game. Otherwise, it's independent on all the other platforms. So the Steam version uses Steam Cloud to synchronize data, and the Epic Game Store uses its own cloud save system. The game supports a long list of achievements on both Xbox Live and Steam, and this is something I didn't actually know when I was writing these patch notes, that if you've got a bunch of Xbox Live achievements, as soon as you buy the game on Steam, all those achievements, I think it's when you play the game on Steam,
Yeah.
all of those achievements carry over.
You have to start one community and get into the map, and then you'll just get bombarded with achievement notices.
So if you're an achievement junkie like me, that's really good news. We did add 7 additional achievements. The Forest for the Trees, which is just for starting a new base in Providence Ridge, because we already had 3 other ones for the other core maps, so why not? The Game is Afoot, which is for accepting your first bounty. Bounty Collector for completing 5 bounties. Collect 'em all for completing 25 bounties. It Looks Good on You, though, for unlocking an outfit with a bounty. And then 2 of my favorites, Howdy, Howdy, Howdy.
Oh, nice. I love that, by the way.
Yeah, it's so one of our testers came up with that idea. It's brilliant, and Jurgen actually worked a little overtime to make sure that it got into the game. But basically the idea is you have to put on a cowboy hat, get a revolver, and shoot 3 zombies in 3 seconds. Bang, 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 howdy, howdy, howdy. Then 88 miles per hour is my other favorite one. You get that for hitting top speed in a sports car while wearing a puffy vest, or as someone might call it, a life preserver. So bounty-driven achievements are retroactive if you've already satisfied the requirements. We've had the bounty broker in the game for a long time, but we've got these achievements for doing stuff with the bounty broker. If you've already effectively earned those achievements, we just give them to you immediately. You don't have to go through and jump through all the hoops again, especially because some of you have completed all the bounties and wouldn't have any new bounties to go out and complete for quite some time. Well, we'll see how much time it is. So, all DLC included. So I'll just summarize this. The Independence Pack, Daybreak, Heartland are now available to all owners of State of Decay, or all people who play it on Game Pass. And if you originally bought the Ultimate Edition or Heartland or Daybreak, you get some additional prestige and some unique outfits for having bought those things. There are a few people who have reported that they're having problems with the newly elevated prestige cap that we added in order to let those prizes happen. So, but those issues have already been reported, and we're working on them. They're on our list. So, in case you wanted to know that, a new map, Providence Ridge. So, Providence Ridge features 5 new bases to claim for your own. We used environmental storytelling to provide subtle and not so subtle hints about the nature of this town before and during the outbreak.
Lots of them.
People have been finding some really weird stuff out there. The map introduces more verticality than previous maps, with significant elevation changes from one region to another, and we showed that when we were showing the map. Big vistas. Keep your eye out for our town mascot, the flannel-clad Sasquatch known as Shaggy Jack. He may turn up in some unexpected places, which some folks have begun to find. And speaking of unexpected places, Providence Ridge has some secrets hiding off the beaten path. Those who search may be rewarded. So I'm going to stop reading the patch notes there because it is time for a giveaway. So it's 3:15, and the plan is once you get prompted by Battissimo in the chat, you should enter. What is this? You should enter this into the chat! ! Enter. And if you do that in the next 2 minutes, then you're going to be entered to win a code for a Steam copy of the game. So if you are an Xbox player who would love to have a Steam copy but didn't want to buy one right now, this is your opportunity. If you wanted to give it as a gift to someone, this is also an opportunity. So keep track of the bot. The bot tells you when exactly it's the time to do it. But in a couple of minutes, we will announce a winner for that.
Good luck.
Yes, good luck.
Oh wait, I don't want to.
Not going to touch my face.
I don't want a crossbow when I can have a sweet shotgun.
You know, I didn't realize how often I touched my own face until I learned it was a bad idea. And now it's like, you've seen those comedy videos, I think, on Twitter where somebody is just like, they keep trying to rest on their hand and then they stop and then they keep trying to touch their face and they stop. And it'll be interesting trying to train myself out of that because, I mean, it's not just good advice when you're under quarantine because of a pandemic. It's also just good advice all the time if you don't want to get sick all the time. So I'm going to try to train myself out of that, and I think folks out there should do the same. While we're waiting on a winner for the contest, for the giveaway, let me read about the new bases. The Firewatch Fortress. This cozy, fortified base is built around a Firewatch tower, features its own survey point, built-in beds, and an infirmary. You know what? We did a whole stream about the bases. Yep. I don't know if I need to actually read all the details about them. If you want
YouTube
to know,
out there.
Yeah, exactly. We've got, and actually, I'll probably. Let's see what time it is. It's around 3:17 now. I'll try to remember that, and I'll throw a card up there on YouTube. So later on, maybe we'll just link to that video so you can find it. So I'm going to skip all this stuff. The Firewatch Fortress, Rusty Rosie's, Weston Builder Supply, Prescott Fire Station, and Lundegard Lumber Mill are our 5 new bases. They're worth a whole video on their own.
It's an actual giveaway.
Yeah, so
it's for a digital copy of Steam, right?
Yeah, it's for a digital copy of the game on Steam. So, By the way, I have to apologize. When I see the clock roll over to 3:15, I always jump in and I start doing the giveaway. Sometimes I hit it before the bot is ready to go. So I'm going to try to do a better job next time of coordinating with the folks that are moderating so that we don't have a lot of folks who end up hitting enter because I said to, and the boss misses out. So I'm sorry, the bot misses out. So I will try to do that a little bit differently next time, and we'll try to get it right. So anyway, new combat style, heavy weapons. We also have an entire video about this, so I'm not going to go into fine detail about it. I'm not going to list all of the individual weapons. There are 9 or maybe 10 of them.
There's 10. It's not a secret anymore.
And there were a few different very specific moves that get called out. The power hit is a new attack that's unlocked by the powerhouse specialization. So make sure if you're equipping characters with heavy weapons, give them the powerhouse specialization. They can do more. Cross check, for instance, is also another option when you press the jump button. And you've got a heavy weapon. Instead of trying to do like a kick or something, just jabs him in the face with the haft of the weapon, which is a much quicker move than the heavier swings. And if you just need to interrupt a zombie or just get in their face, you can do that move instead of doing a normal swing. And then the heavy finisher is special because if there's other zombies around when you're finishing a zombie on the ground, you'll actually swing around your head real quick and then hit. Because the hit is so slow, we wanted to make sure you could actually knock back the zombies around you and not just get victimized.
Finisher. Yep.
Yeah.
I'll switch to a heavy weapon the second I find one because I'm loving that combat. Wow, they had lots of stuff. A lot of people, especially new people, are commenting on the fact that we can loot an enclave stuff.
Yes.
And believe me, we're working on. We're looking at ways to
mitigate the weirdness of that, right?
To make enclaves more believable and behave better.
Yeah, we know that that's kind of a frequent way that the game can be mocked. So we're working on that. So the next thing on the patch notes is the new starter experience. So we had an entire stream about that, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about it, but basically we made an entire series of missions. So if you come out of the tutorial and land in Providence Ridge, which everyone who comes out of the tutorial now lands in Providence Ridge, it's got this whole area dedicated to just running you through a new set of missions, that sort of teach you the game in a new way that we've never used before, in order to teach people how the game, basically how to approach this game. And that's the thing, we did a lot of, we mentioned this in the other stream, we did a lot of UR studies and things to find out what's the difference between a player who sticks around and a player who bounces early from the game. And the biggest difference tended to be players who saw themselves as leaders of communities were the ones who wanted, and were setting their own agenda, were the ones who wanted to stick around. And so we made some changes to the way we teach the game, so we're emphasizing that you are choosing what to do next, that you are in charge, and that this game is about styles of leadership. And with the hope that more people who play the game will be able to sort of get into the vibe that makes it possible to enjoy the game the most. Okay, so it looks like our bots are being kind of finicky. So if you wouldn't mind, it looks like people are already doing it. Folks who are talking to me on Slack, the moderators, are reminding me that folks should enter again because our bot is being finicky. So we'll make this giveaway work somehow or another, we promise. But there you go. Okay, yeah, Wonder says it is working now across the board. So if you entered before, please enter again. We want everyone to have a shot at getting this free code for the Steam version of the game. So one thing that we didn't spend as much time talking about on previous streams is the revised user interface. So we took this opportunity to review our user interface and improve it in a few key places with the aim of making the game clearer and easier to understand. The front-end menu of the game has a whole new look. The list of available choices is better organized, making it easier to navigate. We went over this a little bit when we had Susan on the stream on Friday. All game modes, including Daybreak and Heartland, are unlocked and playable directly from the main menu. You can easily access your legacy pool to view and edit the list of characters available for future communities. That's one that's been getting a lot of positive feedback from folks who are long-term players who were only able to review their library of characters they'd built up right after winning the game, and that was the only time they could ever do it. Now you can do it from the main menu, and we're hoping that new players can see from the main menu that there's a lot of room to replay this game, collect a stable of characters that you love, and yeah, there's a lot to do. The entire in-game user interface has received a visual overhaul to improve information clarity. Many UI elements now feature higher contrast to improve readability.
Yeah, a lot of people have been commenting on streams. I've been jumping around between a lot of streams in Twitch and Mixer, and anytime somebody goes into the menus for the first time, like the base menu, they're like, "Oh my gosh,
I can see so much better."
Yeah, so.
Newly depleted health and stamina meters are much brighter, making it easier to see how much you've just lost. So it used to be that it would go from a red to a brighter red. Now it basically goes to white. And so if you want to glance down and see how much damage you're taking or how much stamina you're losing, it's really easy to see out of the corner of your eye compared to the way it was before. We've also increased consistency for similar aspects of the game, such as notifications and menu instructions. So, and then the goals interface, particularly on the map screen, has been improved. In fact, whenever you're done with zombies, I don't know if we actually highlighted this directly on the stream before. You can get done with zombies first.
It may take me a while to be done with zombies.
Okay, that's fine. We'll look at it again sometime in the future.
Oh, look at that. 3 for 1. What a shot. I love shotguns.
Wow, yeah.
All right, I will jump on top of a car.
That sounds like a great plan. Thank you. So yeah, let's look at that map screen. So you'll notice it used to be that the goals were on the left side. They would be down here. Now they're over there, way over there. And we've taken the main missions that, basically the missions that contribute to you completing the campaign and getting your legacy, those show up in green. So your initial post-tutorial missions, the missions that come from your leader that lead to your legacy, those all appear in that sort of green color. And also the big sort of milestones you have to cross, defeating all the plague hearts, choosing a leader, that kind of thing, they appear in in that green look. And then the rest of the other missions appear down below. And the hope that we had was that we would be able to communicate to people that not every mission is vitally important. People can tend to feel a little bit nagged by our game sometimes. There's just so many people who want your attention, And the intent was always, we want to provide you with enough stuff that you could do, that you're never bored, but we never intended for the game to be just demanding your attention every second of every minute. So we're hoping that between having you choose between missions early in the tutorial and sort of highlighting discrepancies in the importance of missions, we can help to start communicating that it's okay if you skip missions sometimes. Like, you're not going to die. It's going to be all right. Because we want people to feel like they can chill out. So, hey, it looks like we have a winner. Their name is SATA. SATA is our winner. So Megan is going to be trying to get in contact with you. Yes, SATA, you win. So Megan's going to try to get in contact with you. You can also contact her directly at social@undeadlabs.com. And we are excited for you to get your prize. So congratulations. That'll be a free code for the Steam version of State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition. Everyone say congratulations. All right. Oh, so anyway, the changes to that goals interface also include the fact...
Sorry, I'm burning.
No, that's fine. I think what you're doing is way more interesting than what I'm doing. We just pointed out long-term goals can be pinned like other goals. So, for instance, if you are doing a speed run through all of the Plague Hearts, you can actually pin that kill all the Plague Hearts goal.
Oh, nice.
And you'll be able to see your progress just like any other mission. So the next giveaway is actually going to be in 3 minutes. That first one took a while, but I'm going to watch. I'm going to be watching Slack for our moderators to tell me that it's time for me to announce the giveaway. So I'm not going to jump the gun and announce it before the bot is ready. But we should talk about the revised controls, because this is actually a place where a bug crept in, and so we want to make sure that folks are aware of this. So new players are going to be assigned a new control scheme when they start the game for the first time.
Yes.
Which includes splitting the dodge button and so it used to be that the dodge and the stealth button were the same button. They were on the B button. And so in order to tapping B would dodge, and you had to hold down B, start dodging, and then dodge into stealth in order to stealth. That was always kind of an awkward control scheme. So we changed it. We split them up, and we moved stealth onto a click of the left stick, which would be fine, except that particular one, our intent was for people who had the original control scheme not to be affected by this at all. Like, if you already had the game and you were used to the old control scheme, we didn't want to change your controls one bit. That one crept through. So I think that a lot of people who had the original control scheme, when they got the Juggernaut Edition, clicking the left stick now turned their flashlight on and off.
Go to controls.
Yes.
Go all the way to the revert control settings.
There's two options you have. So you can revert if you want to get all of the new changes.
Yeah.
But if the only thing you want to change is that flashlight problem, go to remap controls. And then if you go all the way down, this is the weird part of the bug. If you go all the way down to flashlight, you see right there? Mm-hmm. So I think that the problem is, I'm trying to remember it right. It's either, so the problem is that both flashlight and crouch are assigned to the left stick. Mm-hmm. So I think that, so flashlight is not where the problem is. You want to go down to crouch, which might be up higher. I don't remember where it is on the list, but, or I think it's probably labeled stealth. Maybe it's further down. I should have actually researched this in advance. But the point is, you find stealth on the list wherever it is. I think it's probably way up above us now. We probably just missed it.
I'm just looking now.
Yeah, I think it's probably at this point it's way up above us. All anyway, right. The point is, you find stealth on that list, and stealth is going to have 2 buttons. So stealth is going to be assigned to clicking the left stick, but it's not going to show up. It might be invisible. But if you go and you act like you're about to bind it, and then you don't bind it, it will come unbound, we believe, and that will let you continue as normal. So you can reset to default, because we actually do like the new control scheme better. So if you want to reset to default, like Brant was originally suggesting, that's a great suggestion. We would love to have you do that and give it a try. And if you don't like anything about the new control scheme, you can go back to remap controls, both on console and on PC. That system works. So you can customize it to your liking. Take whatever you like, jettison anything you don't. But if you only want to fix that one thing, just the changes, like, basically it crept in an invisible mode, in an invisible way. So you'll have to go in there and just make that one change. But if you do it, you should be fine. And if you want to just keep playing with the old control scheme you're very used to, we really, really, really want to be able to support that. We don't want to just, drop a rock in the pond for you.
There we go.
All right, so I'm seeing a lot of people hit exclamation point enter, and so I'm assuming that what that means is that the bot fired off the giveaway and that it's time to be typing that. So if you're watching the chat, I'm assuming that you're doing the right thing and that we're doing our second giveaway for another Steam code. So to go over all of the control changes, though, so once we split up stealth and dodge, that meant that stealth ended up on the left stick, which used to be flashlight, which pushed flashlight up on the D-pad, which used to be radio, and now radio does not have its own button. To go to the radio, you have to open up the inventory and tab to the right with the right bumper. On a mouse and keyboard, it's still the same. It got its own button. It's got the O button and the Y button. I think both open the radio. But basically, the reason for that was we thought flashlight, basically because there is a way to get to the radio via the inventory, we thought that keeping flashlight in an accessible and familiar place, a place that a lot of games put flashlight on the D-pad, we felt like that it was going to be very discoverable there and would belong there, so we put it there and hoped that by improving the tutorial of the radio button, that might help people find it a little more easily, and failing that, we're looking into other opportunities to make that control easier to find. And then another big change that folks have been commenting on is you can now cycle your items.
Yep, back and forth.
Left and right. It used to be that I think that right would cycle and left was emotes.
Yeah. And
we moved emotes to clicking the right stick. So there you go. And there's a few other changes too. Vulnerable zombies will now prompt you with the interact button to take them out without having to go through the button cord of grabbing and slaying them.
Oh boy. Hello. Oh no. That's not good.
You can break out of stealth by sprinting.
Oh.
Nicely done. Wow.
No, that was not nicely done. That was frantic gunfire.
Eventually done. Eventually done, Brant. So yeah, you can break out of stealth by holding sprint. We said you can cycle in both directions. If you're using a mouse and keyboard, you can reload your weapon without having to aim first, which was always a weird thing. You would have to basically hold the right mouse button to aim, and then you can hit the R button to reload. When in every other shooter, you can just hit the R button anytime.
Yes.
So now you can just hit the R button anytime and just reload whenever you want to. We also increase the responsiveness of the right thumbstick when you're aiming a weapon, and also the responsiveness and fluidity of walking, running, and sprinting. We have had a few people talk about having trouble with the dead zone on the left stick, so we're looking into that issue. That's an issue that's on our list. We really did just go through every single patch note when we had Matt in here to do graphical improvements last week, so I'm going to skip the graphical improvement section. But you can watch that video. I'm probably just going to try to put as many of these old streams just in the cards on YouTube if I can, so you can find them if you're curious about them. Okay, it looks like we got a winner. So our 330 giveaway was just won by Jodial Magadia. Jodial Magadia. So Magadia? I don't know. I'm going to get your name wrong. I'm really sorry about that. But Jodial, congratulations. So you're going to get a free code for the Steam version of State of Decay 2 Juggernaut Edition.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Yay. So,
and since you're watching this, just give it to a friend who doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I got it. The Drive Shaft Club. Bam.
Nice. I feel like we get that one every single time, which is good because it is my favorite of all of
is?
Yeah.
My favorite's the coffee can mace myself.
Just something about that. It's just like it just feels like you just ripped a part out of the bottom of a car, and you just like I don't know. You feel like I feel like the Hulk when I'm swinging that thing. So Apollo Gaming has a question: how would, let's say, a Steam player join an Xbox player and vice versa? You know what? I am terrified of trying to describe that flow because I'm going to get details of it wrong. It was one of the later things we did as we were getting all of our ducks in a row. But I believe that all of them are actually linked via Xbox Live, and that we've got it used to be that you would have to set up all of those things outside of the game with the Xbox Live dashboard, and I believe that right now there's something inside the game that lets you do it, something new. but I am not going to be able to describe it accurately. So you'll have to experiment because I'm just afraid I'm going to describe it and it's just going to be wrong. And we're not really in a position right now to try to invite somebody in multiplayer in our game right this second. So I'm sorry that I can't give you any more details.
That is an answer that we need to make clear, though.
Yeah, we do. If people are having trouble discovering it, that's on us. We need to make sure that it's clear.
Maybe that's a stream we do.
Yeah.
Where one of us is here and.
Actually, that's a really good remote stream for us to do. We should go through the. You and I should play together. We should go through the whole process of making that work.
I need a Steam key, somebody.
Oh yeah.
Kidding.
Cool. All right. So audio improvements. That is a section we went through. So.
Oh yes, I got to use my new. Oh wow, this was the wrong group to use my.
What, they're like all armored?
All armored guys. Come on, guys.
So
let's circle up. Let's circle up and have powwow. Come on.
As with our graphical improvements, Juggernaut Edition gave our audio team a chance to revisit prior decisions to improve and expand on the already amazing, nice work, audio of State of Decay 2. And blowing things up and swinging a heavy weapon is probably a great background to me talking about this. The game's soundtrack has been greatly expanded with new compositions, alternate arrangements, and gameplay-specific music
you weren't
cues.
invited.
There are new audio effects for zombie attacks, player actions, vehicle repair, breakable objects, UI interactions, and more. Soundscapes for vehicle driving, melee combat, radio conversation, and general background audio have been remixed and improved. And that's just a very high-level summary. If you go to the second half hour of our Friday stream, that we did, the one that's on YouTube as Juggernaut Unleashed, we have a full interview with Kevin, our audio director, and he goes into more detail about exactly how these audio things work, and it's crazy.
We could do 15 streams just on the amazing stuff they've done in audio.
So another thing you can do, by the way, sometimes I don't have the answer to a question, particularly if you're asking about very specific technical user experience flows, like how exactly do I get to multiplayer? I know that I could figure it out if I got there from memory, but I can't recite it to you. If you're looking for help with something like that, and I am inadequate to your needs, you can always go to our Discord. It's discord.gg/State of Decay. And there is a whole help channel there, and a lot of people who are very well versed in this game. Players like you, and also people who are mods on the site who really know what they're talking about. So if we are inadequate to give you answers on the stream right now live, definitely go there. That's a really good source for information.
We are inadequate.
Oh, it looks like Joe Dial disappeared. So
what?
We might be re-rolling to see who actually won this code. People do have a tendency to type !enter and then just disapparate. It seems to happen a lot. So if you're typing !enter, please stick around for 2 more minutes afterwards. That'll be really helpful.
We have occasionally have a problem with zombies getting stuck in rocks. So we're working on that too.
So speaking of gameplay updates, we're getting into the section where we made a lot of little tiny changes that got their own patch notes. And a lot of these we haven't spent a lot of time highlighting. So let me go over a bunch of these. Map. All plague cart locations are now revealed early in the game in standard and dread zones to help new players understand their goals. We were finding that a lot of players just didn't really understand how important taking out the plague hearts was to their progress. And if players don't understand that, it's really easy to feel undirected in the middle of the game. So we just revealed them all immediately so that everyone knows where they are and what they are.
Yeah.
But we don't do it in Nightmare, because we know that our really advanced players would not have liked something making the game any easier. So if you're in Nightmare, it still works the way it used to. But if you're in the other 2 zones, the plague hearts are put in front of you. Also, all potential base locations are now revealed on the map as soon as you arrive to offer points of interest and aid in exploration. So for new players, again, if they're not really sure where they should be exploring, they could just explore anywhere, and it's a big blank map, and they're having choice paralysis. Now we've got the bases on the map, so they can say, oh, well, that's a valuable place to look, that's a valuable place to look, and gives them some early goals. And there's still a lot of unmarked territory on the map for them to just, explore wildly. But at least it gives them something that is definitely worth going after. Survivors. The Red Talon logistics skill now provides the benefits of metalworking as advertised. So that skill has claimed it offered metalworking for a year and a half, something like that, and did not. But now it does. So congratulations, Red Talon people. You have now gotten your belated certification. We disallowed some contradictory trait pairings that made characters seem simultaneously elated and miserable all the time. So there's lots of different sort of categories of traits that we make incompatible with each other because they seem to contradict each other directly, but we hadn't done that with happiness and misery. So a character could have a trait that said, you're just happy all the time, and another one that says, you're just dolorous all the time. So now you can't have those in the same character because that was weird. Okay, we got a new winner. Mercenary Man is our winner.
Are you here?
Congratulations, Mercenary
Hey,
Man.
yeah, Mercenary.
Sweet.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so Mercenary Man is our winner. Congratulations. And we are now only 5 minutes away from our next giveaway. So if you were not Mercenary Man, you still have a shot. Zombies. Killing a single zombie now instantly creates a moratorium on new spawns in the immediate area. Scoring a few more kills makes that no spawning zone larger. This isn't a new system, but it acts much more quickly than before. So this means you are far less likely to have new zombies spawn in inappropriate places right after you think you've cleared them out. This also creates subtle breaks in the pacing of the game with more intense fights punctuated by more periods of quiet. So basically, it used to be that zombies are just spawning all the time, and we would, say once you've killed a zombie in an area or killed a few zombies in an area, we would stop spawning new ones. But it operated too slowly, and people were still having a lot of experiences where they would feel like they'd killed every nearby zombie, and suddenly a zombie would spawn behind the camera. So now we have made that system act faster. So if you are in an area and you see the zombies in the area and you start killing them, chances are you will get to kill all the zombies you saw, and you won't suddenly be ambushed by zombies just appearing in monster closets out of nowhere. It won't be a 100% guarantee that you will have seen all the zombies, but we want to sort of eliminate that sense that the zombies are cheating by spawning in and teleporting.
Zombies.
Yeah, we don't want cheating zombies. We want fair zombies, fair-minded, honorable zombies.
That's right. They gotta have standards.
Yeah, exactly. We've also increased the size of the safe zone around your base to make it calmer for you and your allies, but only slightly to avoid breaking sieges. And we're still working on that, actually. We want to keep improving the experience of, zombies spawning around your base, sieges happening around your base. We want that to be more reasonable. There are some bases that tend to get a lot of zombie attacks, more so than usual. And we want to make sure we kind of even that out and make it so that you're not just constantly being harangued.
One thing you new players will recognize after a certain amount of time hanging out with us is that we are constantly trying to find ways to improve this game. It's a systemic game. It's very complicated and often sometimes unintended consequences with our systems working in ways we never anticipated or couldn't have anticipated. So we will always listen to you and always try to make things better where we can. Yeah. So don't ever hesitate to talk to us about things you'd like to see or concerns you have, because we want to hear from you.
Yeah. And long term, the place where you can always go for help is support.stateofdecay.com. Just a warning though, right now, there's a lot of new people playing the game. It's packed. And we hired extra people to try to man that site, but it needs a lot right now. And so please be very patient with the folks who are running support.stateofdecay.com. They're working their butts off this weekend.
There are no butts left. They've worked them all off.
There's no butts left. And so, yeah. So that resource is there to help you, and we really want to be available to help you. Just be a little bit patient right now with so many people hitting it, and be very kind to the people you're talking to. Especially, we understand that sometimes something going wrong with a game can be very frustrating, but please be kind to them because they didn't make the game. And
you can be mean to me.
Yeah, be mean to us, be mean to me and Brant, that's fine. But be really nice to the folks at support.stateofdecay.com because the only thing they want to do, their entire job, is to help you and try to make you happy. So, items and scavenging. We improved the behavior of fallback loot to reduce the likelihood of nonsensical items dropping in fuel storage, military storage, utility boxes, and chemical storage. So they were like, you would find a gas can on the ground that was full of snacks, and that didn't make any sense. And that was because of the fallback loot system, which we had Brian on to talk about at one point.
Gas snacks are not tasty.
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly.
They aren't good. They're not good for you either.
So, so definitely, big thanks to Brian for working out the solution to that. But yeah, but basically, there was a system for if you were out of the thing that's supposed to show up in the container, we just got random stuff that would show up in the container as a replacement, as a backup, as a fallback. But we've improved the way that works so that now it's more reasonable things are appearing. The base chance of finding an empty container while scavenging is now 1 in 30, where it used to be 1 in 10. So you should expect to less frequently run into containers that just have literally nothing in them. The descriptions of hiking packs no longer claim that they are low profile when clearly they are the size of a small car. That was actually so. We had 3 items on our patch notes that were the result of wishlist items at support.stateofdecay.com. Because if you don't know, at that site, we've got a wish list where you can make suggestions of features you'd like to see in the game or changes you'd like to see to the game. Oh, hey, by the way, it looks like they've started the other the next giveaway. So,
yes! !
Enter. This is our 3rd giveaway. Your last chance to get a free, not your last chance ever, but your last chance right now to get a free code for the Steam version of the Juggernaut Edition. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, there were 3 items that were on our wish list. One was new map. It was one of the biggest items on our wish list. Everyone wanted it.
And we're in it.
Another one was heavy weapons. That was something that people have been asking for a very long time. It wasn't the highest on the wish list, but it was something that people have been asking for from the first day of release. They wanted to have heavy weapons because they were in the original State of Decay.
Yep.
And then the 3rd item is this obscure patch note. I was reading through the wish list, and somebody commented on the fact that hiking packs claimed that they were low profile, but they're huge and they tower above your head. And that didn't make any sense. And when I read that wish list item, I was like, you're right. And so I spent an afternoon going through the description of every single backpack in the game and making it not say that anymore, because that was just nonsensical. It doesn't affect gameplay in any way. I was just, just felt weird about the text. So there you go. That was one wish list item that we cleared. Soda can bombs now behave like pipe bombs when thrown into water. Their fuses are extinguished and they do not explode. So
Boo.
I know, but it used to be we would throw anything with a fuse, you'd throw it into the water and it would fizzle out, except these magical soda can bombs would not. They had those trick birthday candles that never go out in them or something.
Oh no!
Oh hi, Farrell.
Johnny Farrell's right here.
How you doing?
And look at me with a... Oh, no.
Nice dodge.
That's all I'm good for. Oh,
sheesh, right through the door.
No.
Yes. Up the ladder. Up the ladder. Up the ladder. Oh. Okay.
Oh, what? No! I'm not safe. I am not safe. There's nothing safe about this.
Yeah, you might have to melee the Farrell.
I'm going to. I'm so tired. Oh, reload. Oh, God.
Oh, gosh.
No. Okay, we're going to try this somewhere else. Dodge.
Back in the car. Back in the car.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, reload.
I forgot they could climb on top of those.
Oh, that was amazing.
Now, the problem is I have to get him with one shot because I can't reload fast enough to... Come on. Oh.
Nicely done.
Sorry, we can resume now.
Okay, so weapons and mods. We buffed the impact value of suppressors. At close range, they now do as much damage as before Update 14. So for those of you who are catching up more recently, in Update 14, we rebalanced suppressors and brakes, which are both different muzzle attachments you can put on your gun. And because suppressors were just dominating brakes. People were using them so much more often than brakes that it was just kind of ridiculous. So we're like, we've got an imbalance here. We got to fix this. So we made suppressors reduce the damage that your guns did, and had brakes, I think, increase it.
Yep.
And to rebalance them. But that didn't work for a lot of folks who had already got, basically, they'd figured out their tactics, they'd figured out their skills, how they use these weapons, and having the suppressors get nerfed felt bad to a lot of players. And we totally understood, and we're like, yeah, you guys are right. We're going to put it back. So we've put that back the way it was. So one addition that we made in Update 14 was that there was now sort of the higher caliber weapons were louder and the lower caliber weapons were quieter. So if you wanted to have a really quiet gun, you would go and grab like a 22 or something like that, and it would be much quieter than, say, a 762.
Yeah.
And that is still true, but instead of having them all be louder than they used to be, now they're all about the same. They're in the same range as the quietness. So we had originally made the suppressors louder based on the caliber of the weapon. We had made them do less damage, and now we've brought those back. So now they do more damage again. They are quiet again the way they used to be. The main thing that is still true is that their range fall off is sooner. But it's not that bad. If you're getting reasonably close to a zombie where you feel confident you're going to hit it, you're probably also within the range where the suppressor doesn't take out the damage too much. So In addition to that, muzzle brakes now add a chance for the weapon to kick straight up or as close to straight up as possible rather than bouncing all over the place. So that's another way that we've tried to improve brakes. We've made it so that that instead of just reducing the recoil, they also were straightening out the recoil. So it's easier to fire and recover.
Compensate, for that. Yeah, I was I was really happy that Brian worked on that because it's no fun to put a lot of time in on a system that you want to give people choices for and then end up not really when players are playing, they always end up using the same thing. So there was almost no reason for it. So I'm super happy that brakes, there's a real benefit to brakes now.
Yeah. And we're still, basically we're still tracking our telemetry. We're still trying to learn as much as we can about that, and maybe there'll be changes in the future too. But we've definitely learned what players are looking for from the suppressors, and we're going to be very cautious not to disrupt the tactics that you've already developed.
Well, and to be honest, some of those problems that came forth were things that we didn't anticipate. We didn't know because the math wasn't. We didn't have all the math.
So the last thing in the weapons and mods section, the Halligan tool no longer weighs a ridiculous 1 pound. It now weighs 11 pounds as intended, and I think that was just a typo.
That was a typo.
Base and resources. The prestige limit has been increased by a factor of 10 from 9,999 to 99,999, except we realize there are still some bugs with this, and there are some methods of gaining prestige that I think are bumping up against the old limits instead of the new limits.
Yes.
So that is on our list of bugs we want to fix as soon as we can. So thank you for making us aware of that, and we're gonna try to fix that soon. Red Talon watchtowers can no longer be built at the Bridgefort base because this was basically that base was too cramped, and the geometry would create these tiny areas where people could get stuck. And so nobody likes getting their NPCs stuck, and so you just can't build those ridiculous, powerful towers at the Bridgefort anymore. The Bridgefort's a tiny base anyway, and it's got its own towers. So I think people will probably be okay with that restriction. You can now check yourself into an infirmary to delay the progress of Blood Plague, and the game prompts you to switch characters as part of the process. So this was a thing that was actually really uncomfortable in the original version of the on-ramp of the game, because players would have to, in order to check a character into the infirmary, which was one of the first things you had to do once you got your new base, players had to learn how the base screen worked. They had to figure out that they couldn't be the character they were checking in, and it was just convoluted.
Yeah,
and
it was no bueno.
So now you can just be that character and walk right up and check yourself in, and it's the most straightforward version we've ever had. And it was we had Eric Anderson in here talking about his work on the on-ramp on Friday, and that was one of the things he ended up having to spend the most time on because it was a can of worms. Like, he made it work really fast, and then solving all of the edge cases with that thing took forever because we just kept finding new things. And so kudos to him for making that work, because it really does work out. It's one of the first things that new players do, and it actually makes sense. And that was actually harder to achieve than you might imagine. Animation. When you hold the aim button without a ranged weapon equipped, your survivor now fidgets a lot less. So it basically, if you have a weapon and you aim, of course, you get this really steady aim down the sights looking kind of animation. But if you don't have one, what you would go into is your melee combat animation.
Oh, hello.
And you guys have seen melee combat idols before. There's a lot of movement to a melee combat idol. And so the characters were not very steady, and so when you were aiming without a weapon, it looked really fidgety. You couldn't quite tell what your character thought they were doing. So we've got a calmer version of that now that doesn't give that impression anymore. And I'm going to cough now, but not on Brant.
Please don't.
I promise that was not the coronavirus.
I wouldn't expect you to bring that to me.
That was me talking for an hour and my throat just giving out. We improved ladder climbing cameras and interactions when playing as a female survivor. So you'll note that because the female survivors have slightly smaller bodies than the male survivors, a lot of their animations need to work a little bit differently to accommodate that difference. And so ladder climbing and ladder climbing cameras is one area where there were subtle differences that were making the female experience less good. And so now it is more good. And then we polished and improved the stealth animations. And then in the menus section, options from the accessibility section of the settings menu have now been duplicated into the gameplay section to make them more discoverable. So one thing we've learned about accessibility is that when you add features to a game, that are designed to help people with disabilities or limitations. A lot of those features that you've added are actually things that everyone could benefit from. In fact, it's one of the greatest arguments in favor of putting a lot of effort into accessibility work for a game, is that because it's not just a small segment of your audience that could appreciate this stuff. Everyone likes. I mean, subtitles were originally added to support like the hearing impaired, but I play almost everything with subtitles. It's so much easier for me to parse what's going on.
Yep, if that's an option, I will always have subtitles on.
And so that's true of a lot of different things. And so we realized that there were a lot of options that, because they were in the accessibility section, there were players who were just never checking that because they didn't consider themselves to be the audience for that. But there were options in there that they might really have wanted. And so now those have been duplicated into the gameplay section. And
oh, guess who showed up outside of the rock?
We're not getting to the end of this. So the next section, the mission fixes, this is Leah's section. She just basically went through and found as many mission bugs that had been reported that she could possibly make any progress on, and she just solved them all. And so there's just tons and tons and tons of these minor fixes. And if you go to stateofdecay.com, the patch notes are there. We're about to run out of time in 4 minutes, and so there's no way I'm getting through this entire list. Why don't I skip ahead to just the very last section, which is miscellaneous mission fixes, because they're the most broadly applicable. Let's see. Oh, wait. Let's see here. So I think that the moderators need to tell me if the winner they announced to me in Slack is actually the winner, and if I should say it out loud, because there was a little bit of confusion over whether we could get into contact. So let me know, moderators. Anyway, so here are the miscellaneous mission fixes. Mysterious Wandering Trader. Entering one of the decoy sites now gives you solid feedback that the trader isn't there instead of leaving you to wonder. So there's lots of missions in the game where we're like, this person or this thing could be at any of these 3 sites. And each time you go to a site and it's the wrong one, the icon disappears and your character says, oh, this is the wrong place, and you can move on. One mission didn't do that, and it was Mysterious Wandering Trader. And so now it behaves like all the others. Mission objectives requiring the use of a radio command, such as Independence Pack, Get a Pyro Launcher, now badge the command on the menu to make it easier to find. So it used to be that we didn't support those little exclamation points appearing on the radio menu, but since we were building that to support new players in the on-ramp being able to find the radio options that they needed to use, we made it apply across the entire game. So any part of the game that requires using the radio, any mission that requires using the radio now can badge that part of the radio. The community advice missions that ask you to do things like build facilities now allow you to refuse them by speaking with the sponsor. So I think people who've been playing the game for a long time are really aware of that, like, I'm trying to think of the specific examples. Like maybe one of your, like, you got a warlord who wants you to build a shooting range, and they just sit there with a mission saying, build a shooting range. And you're like, and it's badges the shooting range all the time. And it's just sitting there, and you're like, I don't want to build a shooting range, but this mission is just going to sit there for the rest of your life. No more! Now you can refuse it. You can go talk to the person who's recommending it, and you can refuse that mission. Neglected enclaves are now less likely to turn hostile, especially late in the game when it used to be a coin flip. So basically, if you don't do missions for an enclave, eventually they get fed up and they stop offering you missions. And there's 2 places they can go. One, they can leave the map and just go away altogether, or they can get angry and turn hostile. And what we found was people were ending up with a lot of really hostile people on the map, and it felt thematically just a little off. Like, we're not trying to make the, grimdark apocalypse where everybody's just a murderer.
We're trying to make the happy-go-lucky apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly, right? So we made it that less likely. We don't want it to never happen. We should still have hostile people you run into now and then, but we didn't want it to just be happening all the time. So we've reduced the rate at which that happens. All right, so I didn't get anything back from the moderators, but I'm just going to say that I believe the winner of our last giveaway was Southtown Chi. So if that was incorrect, I am so sorry, but I didn't want us to end the stream without announcing their name. So Southtown Chi, if you were the winner, congratulations. And I've just got one more item on the patch notes that I'm going to go through. We improved how missions create enclaves to avoid blocking other key missions. That's the last one on the list. And I've got no time to explain what that means because we've only got 1 minute left. So how is our community doing that we've been playing this whole time?
All right. Well, we haven't increased our size at all, but we do have a nice helmet.
Oh, that's lovely.
But we have, latrine to make us more cheerful. And we're upgrading the command center so we can have more outposts.
Sweet. So that's what we could get done in an hour, and we're really looking forward to hearing all of your stories. Oh, I forgot the video that we were going to show. We are going to end with a special treat. Okay, so this is the very last thing we're going to do.
Okay,
but let's check this out. So Big Lou is one of our favorite players, and so we should explain what's going on. Big Lou was creeping up on an enclave that had some heavy weapon specialists in it.
Yes.
And he was just at the bottom of a hill watching this enclave and
deal with a horde.
This is what happened.
Look at the front of the house very carefully.
Yeah.
These guys are just launching zombies.
And it's not the only one.
There we go. Nice
that
distance.
one went really high.
That's nice distance there.
So Brant pointed out, I didn't notice this the first time. The first zombie gets shot midair.
Yeah. They're good shots,
Boom.
too.
It's like they're shooting skeet. Like one guy's hitting the zombies up, and the other one's like.
I sat and watched this way too many times this morning. I was laughing so hard.
So thank you, Big Lou. We haven't been doing the community spotlight lately, where we show videos from community members, because it just takes a really, really long time, and we've had a lot to do to set those up. But this one was just irresistible. So thank you, Big Lou, for sharing that with us. And that's the last thing we have time for. We got to get out of here. It's 4:01. Yeah. So thank you all. We can never thank you enough for all of the good work that you have done. Playing our game, making us feel loved and seen with all of your interactions with us, and the way that you folks with word of mouth have told your friends about this game. You've done a lot of good for us, and so we really appreciate it. We want to give everything back that we can.
Yep, we love you guys. Thank you so much.
So with that, let's head out.
I watched that 100 times today.
I know, right? You can't get enough of it.
Every time I was laughing too. So nice. Way to go, Lou. Thank you.
So keep up with us on social media. We'll try to tell you what's going on with future streams. We'll figure it out.
Bye, nerds.